Hello guys, in previous lecture we have seen how can we revert our changes from working directory. In this lecture we are going to see how can we revert our changes from the staging area to working directory and also repository to working directory. There is no way that avoiding the working directory. So what we need to do, first we need to send our changes from staging area to working directory by using git restore command. Again, we need to run the command to discard changes from working directory. Nothing but in this case, we need to execute two commands. First command, discard our changes from the staging area. Second command, discard our changes from the working directory. Similar way, same thing will happen over here. Whenever we commit our changes in our local repository, we can do the git reset, which help us to discard our commits on the local repository, but changes you can still see in the working directory. Again, we need to run the git restore or git checkout on the working directory. Let me show you the relevant document for this. So this is the document revert changes from staging area. So we should execute git restore minus staged. Even for working directory also git restore we use followed by file name, but whereas if it is already in the staging area, then we can use git restore minus staged followed by file name. In this command, what happens, it discard changes only in the staging area, not in the working directory. Now you know, right, how to discard changes in the working directory. Either these commands we should execute. That is the reason I have added it over here. Next thing is reverting changes from the local repository if you haven't committed into the remote repository. So we can use git reset head tilde. This helps us to go back to the previous commit, but changes still is there in the working directory. So we can execute this command to revert those changes. Let's go and do this one practically. I'm in my same repository which we have used in our previous lecture. If I do index.html file, I'm updating again. So cat index.html, I will add one line. Okay, h1 welcome to our company. Close it as a h2. So I introduced a bug again and git add dot, which means that I'm sending these changes to the staging area. Before that, if I do git status, it is in working directory only. Git add dot git status. You can see here it is under working directory now. You can also clearly see the command what you need to execute, git restore minus staged followed by file name to unstage it. So same thing we need to do. I'm going to do this one to unstaged. Okay, before executing this command, let me open my index.html. So these are the changes we have added newly. Now let me revert those changes in the staging area. Now if I see git index.html, you can see here still you could see the changes. Why? Because we have discarded our changes from on the staging area only. Now we need to discard it from the working directory as well. So for that, if I do git status again, now you can see here it is there in the working directory. So from working directory again we can use the git restore followed by file name without minus stage flag. Then these changes will be discarded in our local repository as well. I can do cat index.html. So this is how we can revert our changes from the staging area. Now one last thing that I'm going to add changes and we'll do a commit. Then we'll see how we can revert it. Before that, if I do git log, okay, we have a commit called merge. So merge is our latest commit. Now vi index.html and I'm adding this line. Save this file and git add dot git status git commit -m added or updated index.html. Okay, and git status if I check, so git status if I check, there is one commit, and git log if I do, you can see here after merge commit there is one more commit which is done today, that is updated index.html. All right, now I don't want this commit, I want to revert these changes. If that is the case, I can do git reset head, okay, tilde or else cap we can use. Okay, this is we call it as a caret symbol. Git reset head cap 1 or else just cap. If we don't give any number, it will treat it as a 1. It is going one commit back on your local repository. At this moment it is at this commit, now it is going to refer to this commit. So let's see that one. And if I do git log, you can see here head is came back to the previous commit. But if you see the changes, git status, okay, those came back into the working directory, and the changes what we have done still is there in the file. Now I would like to discard these changes. Now you know, right, how to revert the changes when it is in working directory. Okay, we know git restore or else git checkout minus minus index.html. Okay, so this is how we can revert our changes from the staging area or else from local repository. But whenever we commit our changes into the remote repository, it is bit difficult to do that one, and there is no direct way to do that. We may need this kind of activity very rarely, but your commits on remote repository is not backed out. Okay, please remember while pushing your changes onto the remote repository. That's all for this lecture, and see you in the next lecture.